Hello. So, let's see. So, I had this question a little while ago from, I was actually very flattered, I'm going to be honest. There was this guy who contacted me, like a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And basically he just started thinking about becoming a programmer, and he came to me and asked like, what should I think about, like education, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. And it wasn't all that long I was in his shoes, and I thought like, okay, I want to do this, but what should I learn, like what should I focus on, and stuff. And so at least when I was in his position, I felt that there was a great deal of uncertainty about like what technology do I pick, like what's going to be my first programming language, do I have to go to school, do I have to get certifications, all that stuff. And so it was very difficult to find like definitive answers. And I realized that even though maybe people like I mean, I feel this today. Like I realize now how much inherent uncertainty there is in answering such a question. Like like my first instinct now that I know enough programming is to say like to that question is, oh well, it depends, and it does depend. It does. If the goal for me is to just be really accurate. I'm gonna try, like, if I'm gonna give somebody some tips, like I want them to have full understanding of like what my answer means. Like I'm trying to be very specific and explain, oh, you should think about this if you're after that, and so forth. And then I try to bring it all back to how I was thinking at that point in time, like when I didn't know any programming, and at least trying to figure out what I inherently needed to hear. So today, my current self has realized that to answer that question, instead of me trying to tell you all the possibilities and say, if you want to do this, then get into that and so forth, I'll simply tell you, even if it's not 100% accurate, what I think. So you have a definitive goal, because I realized that the decision I made, even though I didn't get a definitive answer when I started, was actually, it was just a starting point. I mean, if you think about it, if you're getting into programming, if you're getting in to like just get a job, let's say to start with that, then it's really, it doesn't matter. You can pick any language. Like there is somebody out there using it, and you like, some languages are more popular than other ones, but you can get a job. If you're getting in for something very specific, then I would guess that you're asking me about that thing. Like you're saying, I want to be a computer games programmer. What language do I choose? But the question wasn't that. The question was, which language do I start with? Which means, in my opinion, that sounds more like a generic question. Like, I want to program, I don't know anything about it, but I'm interested. So what I told him was that here in Gothenburg, at least, if you're getting into, and he was trying to get a job here, and I said, the language you want to start with here is Java. The hands down, the most requested language for programmers in Gothenburg is Java. Second place is .NET. Third place is JavaScript, I would say. That's just from my own personal experience. And he was like, I could tell that, oh, he felt like instead of me saying, oh, you can pick any of these, and he's like, but which one do I pick? He actually preferred me just to give him a definitive answer. This is the thing you're gonna go for. And so he started his education. I talked to him not so long ago, and he's on his way to become a Java programmer. And we spoke about it, and I said, like, when you learn Java and you feel comfortable with that language, don't be afraid to branch out, because you're going to figure out that, there might be other languages out there that do some things better than others. But start with that. I mean, the concepts are the same. Like Java is a really good first programming language to learn, and most schools teach it because of that very reason. And the request is, like the demand is massive. So I was trying to get, like, as a junior developer, try to, like, don't be so concerned with what language and what, like, because that doesn't really matter. What's important is that you learn the concepts. That, because, I mean, look at me, for example. When I was studying at, I took an online course at Harvard, and we spent about 5 or 6 weeks, I think, learning C and all the programming concepts in C. And our final project was in PHP. We spent, and I'm not joking, it was almost comical, we spent a single class learning PHP, one class. It's 1 hour to learn that entire language. Now, none of us were like experienced with the interfaces and all the functions and stuff, but that didn't matter because we understood programming at its at the fundamental level. So learning the syntax was as easy as just going to the documentation, looking for that specific concept, and remembering next time, okay, that's the way you write a for loop. That's the way you declare a variable. And the same went for all the interfaces and all the libraries and that stuff. It was very easy, and that's true today. There are some languages that are really different from the majority of languages, but even so, like, then if you understand programming at the fundamental level, picking up a new language is very easy. So when I look at these videos on YouTube where they say, oh, these are the languages you have to learn, or the top 10 programming languages to learn in 2017, I get a little bit like, maybe those videos are more aimed towards the people who already know programming, and maybe like the intention is good, but most of these lists, like, you're telling me, okay, the top 10 programming languages to learn, and I'm like, 10 programming languages. All right, maybe I care about the first 3 on your list there, but I mean, come on, 10 programming languages. Be like, if you are a serious YouTuber and you're a professional and you're telling me that you have a list of 10 programming languages that you should learn, or like that, you know, I think that you're making a video to like show off that list and talk about programming languages more than giving concrete tips. Because trust me, I've talked to professionals who have been doing this for like most of their life, and they don't know 10 programming languages. Like most of, like, I see some of them even really only know one language really well. So to you guys who are just starting out there, don't be so nervous about like what language to start with. Instead, ask yourself, what is it that I want to build? Because if your answer is, oh, I just want to build web pages, it's very easy for you to get started. If your answer is, I want to do embedded system, then go with C and C++. If you want to create computer games, depending on what type of computer games you want to build, it's going to be .NET or Java for the most part. And if you want to do mobile development, well, do you like iOS or do you like Android? Because once again, it depends. If you like both, then pick one to start with, learn that fairly well, and then learn the other one in your spare time. That's what I did. I mean, I started with Java, and it's been good. I mean, I did that for a long time, and then I learned JavaScript in parallel with that, and now I do mostly JavaScript, but that doesn't mean I only know that language. So trust me, what you start with doesn't really matter all that much. It's about realizing which language, and you figure that out as you go along, what suits what.